This is Joe Hoskin for SVG Europe. I'm here with Will Pitt, the head of sport for Imagen. We're going to be discussing how leagues and clubs are addressing their markets using digital media. Will, good morning.
Morning, Joe.
What's the importance of using digital media for football leagues and clubs today?
Two words: engagement and legacy. Engagement, there's never been a better time for leagues and clubs to get to their market, okay? So digital technology and the marketplace, the way it's evolved and the way it continues to develop, is enabling much broader engagement with fans, ultimately with fans, but also with the broadcasters, the news agencies, and all the somewhat traditional outlets that leagues and clubs have been looking to engage with, as well as the new media of over-the-top broadcasting, OTT, but ultimately it's a broader engagement with the fans that digital technologies enable.
And how far along are those leagues and clubs in actually addressing their markets with digital media? And what are the challenges that they're facing in doing so?
Okay, well, first part of the question, they're variously developed in that space. So some of them are very well developed, very sophisticated, keeping on top of all trends as they emerge and making best use of new technology. And others haven't started at all. So there really is a huge range. Football is probably more sophisticated in this space than other sports, but I would say that would apply particularly to the top leagues, less so for the lesser leagues.
So the bigger clubs, the more financially flexible clubs, they're more engaged with this type of media.
To a point. It's not just about money, though. Some of the new technology actually has a very low cost of entry, and so smaller clubs and smaller leagues should be making best use of that new access to those new markets.
Right.
So, yeah.
And how have you helped Premier League clubs address this issue? What have you been doing working with them?
Well, the Premier League themselves came to us some time ago to digitize or help to give access to the digitized archive. So that was the whole of the archive of the Premier League. And actually they did it to start with to give access to their broadcasters, so their rights holders, and to provide easy and quick access to the whole of the Premier League archive through a Premier League portal. And that's what we provided for them. Going forward, what that has now enabled them to do is address anyone that they seek to address. So that would clearly be the clubs themselves, but not just the clubs within the Premier League as it currently stands, but every club that's ever played a part in the Premier League.
Right.
And then beyond that, there is controlled access to anyone that they seek to give access to. So they've done the hard work. They've digitized the archive.
Can you give us a sense of how big a project that was, in terms of scale?
Yeah, so the Premier League started in the early 90s,
Yeah.
And they play huge number of matches every season, so that's a lot of content. But it's no good just uploading the content of the 380 matches.
And had all of that content been stored?
It had been stored, yes, but it had been stored on physical assets.
Right. And different physical assets.
Indeed.
As things changed.
Different formats.
Different formats.
Yes. So there was a piece of work to do there, but that's okay. You have to start somewhere. Mm-hmm. Crucially, though, just the storage of the digital asset is no good unless you inform that content as well. Yeah. So there is a piece around the adding of metadata, indeed the importing of existing metadata where it exists. Mm-hmm. So that journey began. Actually, it was a broadcaster that prompted the Premier League to act. They said they wanted to gain access to a large range of content, and the Premier League could have fulfilled that with what existed, but it would have taken time. And so it was really the onset of this new broadcaster, a new rights holder in a particular territory, that forced their hand, made them want to get this piece of work done. And in so doing, of course, they now have the ability to provide that access to anyone that they see fit. So that would be the clubs, as I said earlier, but ultimately also the fans. Why not? The content is there.
No, it sounds like a fascinating project. I also understand you've been working with Chelsea Football Club when they were looking for a video management system. Can you tell us what challenges were there and the results of that project?
Sure, that's a really good use case, a good example. So Chelsea had, similar to the Premier League, but on a lesser scale, but a lot of content. And that content was spread out over a number of different sites of theirs, and it was in a variety of formats too. Same sort of issue. They wanted to unify that, and in so doing, provide easier access to the people who need to get to the content, ultimately to make that content quicker to get to the market. So that was the ultimate goal. But the process of unifying the variety of standard definition, high definition content, various formats, was one that has made that whole process, all of their various workflows, so much more efficient. And what it comes down to, at the end of the day, is speed to market and a cost saving. So in making this investment to digitize their entire archive, they have saved a great deal of time in the workflow that content takes to get to the market, and ultimately saved money in saving that time.
And with NAB just around the corner,
Any
plans from the company to introduce any new products that you can tell us about?
Well, the software, because we are a software business and because we are a software as a service business, the software is always updating. Is one of the great benefits of buying software as a service is that it updates itself. So there's a number of features that have recently been released, but that's an ongoing process. As far as NAB is concerned, it's an important show for us as well, because we are making great grounds in the US market. There are two very significant pieces of business that we are closing, and we'll be able to announce then. I can't tell you what that is now, because we are just closing them, but two very significant pieces of business that we will be excited to announce at NAB, I hope.
Good. Will, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.